fucking run away, see niggas thought a nigga geeking. Money please, no drama, long as we keep it on camera, just all a nigga seeking. This all of me, on mama, whipping on me, won't prosper, and I ain't even cheating.
Nah, but it's like, at the same time, people, unless it's like some sort of extrapolation that we can, you know what I'm saying, that we can perform. Unless it's like some sort of situation where we can take what someone, you know, is talking about and then extrapolate it and then, you know, place it into whatever other situation that we are trying to, you know, delve into or dissect. Like, for example, it's like I'm watching Professor Jang, right? I mean, we all know he's not a real professor. I'm gonna continue calling him Professor Jang. It feels like freaking it feels like lectures. You know what I'm saying? Literally, it feels like lectures, like whatever it is that he's giving. And I don't think my sounds is giving right now. Why is that? Right? Why is my sounds not giving right now? Hold on, let me see something. Okay, cool. I thought we was all mute today. But anyway, yo, yeah, Professor Jang, right? He's talking about Dante's hierarchy of hell or something like that. Hold on, let me see that. The title right here, right? Dante's hierarchy of hell. Yeah. So he's talking about, you know, treachery and how Dante believes there's 4 levels of treachery, each one worse than the other type thing, you know what I mean? And so with these levels of treachery, it's like he's explaining one of them, and then, you know, he's explaining the fact that, you know, betraying things like people close to you, you know, those that you love, your family members and things like that, right? It's one of the highest forms of treachery that one can perform. You see what I'm saying? And so I want to connect what Professor Jang, bro. Damn, watch out, jeez, get your diction right. Woohoo. Nah, look, you know how he's talking about that. I want to connect that with, you know, the moral of my story today, which is like, you know, you really are your environment, right? Write that down. You really are your environment, because like I want to connect what Professor Jang is talking about with how you are your environment, because y'all can tap into this video that I'm talking about right here, right? Predictive history, great books, number 10, Dante's hierarchy of hell. You know what I mean? Earlier on this video, you know, he's breaking down the fact that you know, how you were brought up, you feel what I mean, how you were shown love, how you were nurtured, that affects how you go ahead and, you know, give love yourself, how you yourself nurture, you know what I'm saying? So it affects things in that way, where it's like, at least you have to connect the dots in how you are your environment, because how your environment handles you, in other words, right? How your environment handles you. Okay, cool. We all come from birth givers. We all were given birth to. You understand what I'm saying? And now, let's say we are talking, you know, caregivers that couldn't really tend to your needs the way you need to be tended to. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it makes it tricky, because now we're talking male development that may come from that. You see what I'm saying? And that may affect how you now go on and interact with the world, like within your own journey. Hold on for a second. I want him to explain sort of what he's explaining here. Well, he's talking about Dante's hierarchy of hell, right? So, hey, welcome to hell. Hey, welcome to hell. You know what I'm saying? Well, he's talking about hell, but I just want to play a little clip, and then from that clip, you know, kind of substantiate what I'm trying to tell you, right? What I'm trying to yap to you about. Let's get it.
To guests and friends, and traitors to God.
So it's treachery. He's talking about traitors.
So treachery is a really important concept in Divine Comedy.
Yeah.
Because treachery is the worst way to condemn people away from God. All right. And what Dante says is that there are 4 different types of treachery, and each is worse than the other.
Right.
The first type of treachery, betrayal, is when you betray your family. And for Dante, this is actually the least problematic of all betrayals, because you're born into a family. You don't actually choose
Right.
to be part of a family, okay? It's involuntary. And as such, when we betray someone, it's bad, but it's not as bad as if you choose. If you choose to go into a bond with someone and then betray that person.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
All right, so that's why.
Yo, I'd actually go as further as to say, also betraying things like, you know, the aspect of you not choosing, I can understand that, right? But now when we're talking about things like even having children, you know what I'm saying? Betraying your own children may be like a highest form of some treachery, because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you choose to have, yes, there's like the concept of like, no, you know, you plan your kid. No, I mean, you don't plan your kid. Sometimes you just like pop out, but they're still a blessing. But you know, yeah, you kind of didn't want them around, but like they're here now. But you're not saying, but it's still cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? But for the fact that you know, planted the seed, you did the deed that, you know, subsequently produced a kid. Like that was conscious. That was a conscious decision, right? So that should be another one of these treacherous situations within the family dynamic. But now, you know, he mentioned something where like you don't choose your family. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying, you don't choose your family, and so therefore, you know, you're born into a family, and one of these treacherous situations is betraying family becomes one of those situations, right? And he went on to explain the fact that, yo, how your family brings you up, right? How they come to just love you, you know what I mean? That affects how you come to love the world. You feel what I'm saying? These things is connected. So, you know, you are the subsequent effect, like, if I may even put it like that, right? Correct me in the comments if you know what I'm saying, I'm putting it in a subpar way, but you know, you are intertwined with your environment to a point where it's like you are damn near one with your environment in that sense, because number one, you don't choose your family, you know what I'm saying, and number two, how you go about showing love can be a reflection of how you were loved. So when we're talking about things like limitations, the limitations that you had to work with, right? The limitations that made you who you are. Look, I'm not saying you are those limitations, right? But you had to work with those limitations. So if it wasn't for the limitations that were designed for you, that you went through, you wouldn't even do things like overcome struggle, you know what I'm saying? Overcome hardship. That ingredient needed to be there. So that's who you are, because that's how you developed into being right now. You know what I mean? My point is that you are your environment, bro. Take for another example, dog, you come from a soft ass family. You know what I'm saying? Like as in you got it good. You know, rich as you cool, went to the best schools, whatever. You were basically coddled. You were probably homeschooled. You know what I'm saying? Anything you wanted, you had. Now look at what kind of psychology that develops in a kid. You know what I'm saying? Maybe spoiled, maybe lazy. You feel what I'm saying? But then that had to be the situation for you to be that. Yes, there are kids who then come up to be so aware of how they are. Let's say they do develop into being lazy, and then they recognize that, or like fat, you know what I'm saying? They eat so much because they gluttonous, because, you know, access to like whatever cravings that they may be feeling is always there, you know what I'm saying? So now they develop this health disorder. You feel what I mean? Now it's like things are complicated, and then they realize it. You know, they may just like snap out of it, start going to the gym, hitting the gym, eating right. You feel what I'm saying? Getting they body right and things like that. Is that called mogging? Right? That's not mogging. Yeah, damn near looks maxing. That's what I'm talking about. You feel what I mean? But then even with that, bro, like being influenced into shape, maybe you were shamed into shape as per the influence of the world around you, maybe social media telling you that if you are X amount of, you know, body mass, whatever, you're overweight. And then you look into the mirror, you step on that scale, you realize, damn, they be talking about me when they be, you know, saying all this degenerate stuff about overweight, obese people. It's like, and then that kind of like hits you, it changes your mind, it's connected to you, bro. That's where the connecting factor is. You see what I'm saying? The world around you had to, you know, develop the mind in you, or plant the seed in your mind for you to act and have the you may call it your desired result. And yes, it is your desired result, but look at the influence. Look at what made you desire that result. It's because we do live in a world that does value health in the form of being a certain weight, you know, as per the height that you carry, and maybe the age, life experience, things like this. Like, you feel what I'm saying? And so therefore that influences you to form yourself, and that's how you form your future. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I be seeing a whole lot of people maybe still being confused on like, yo, when we talking about the concept of you, yourself, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get deep with it, because, you know, I gotta get deep with it sometimes, and I'll talk about the shallow versions of topics. You know what I'm saying? So when I say yourself, I'm not talking about the shallow version of like your flesh, bones, like your name, this, that, and the third. No, I'm talking about some things beyond that. Yes, that makes part of you up, but I'm talking about the level at which your environment, the space around you, is actually who you are. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why I had to bring up the Dr. Jang video, because this is one angle of how we can understand it, is how, you know, things like family, this one aspect that we don't choose to be part of, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of just like given by nature, but you gotta work with it. You understand what I mean? Because the effects of how your family brings you up, right, gives birth to you, brings you up, that shapes how yourself becomes. What other example can I just like break down, bro? Right? The kind of schools you go to, dog. The friends you make, bro. You know what I mean? You can come from an environment where it's like, you even, you know, maybe a foreign space where y'all don't even speak English. I don't know, for example. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't speak English, in that area. This, that, and the third, and then, you know, you go through your whole schooling career, and it's the same way, like, right, some 7th world country over there somewhere, you know what I'm saying, where English doesn't even reach. But then now you see we shift into a world where like knowing English, you know what I'm saying, could do you a lot of good. You can communicate with a whole bunch of people, whole type of people from across the globe, because this is the universal language, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? But now let's say you go through a time, like a phase where you actually, you go through your research, you know, associate yourself with people, and, you know, go into environments where they speak this language, the entertainment that you consume. We're in a digital world now. You know what I'm saying? You get yourself I don't know, some sort of device where you can like just consume a whole lot of this entertainment and media that just speaks this language where you're like, yo, bro, a whole bunch, like the globe is communicating at this level, like, you know what I mean? I gotta tap in. And so therefore you just like, you consume, you read books, English books, things like this. You see what I'm saying? Look at how now you've used your environment to develop who you are, because now you know, you are therefore, you may even like the expressions that you have are not limited to just like the language of your indigenous space. You see what I'm saying? You can elevate those expressions into just like a global space, because like you've tapped into this language where people within the global market like understand and communicate with one another, right? I hope I said that right. Kind of forgot what I kind of said 2 words ago. But you know what I'm saying? Like your environment is very much a part of you, ladies and gentlemen. Moral of the story with it. You feel me? And so therefore, with that being said, bro, he touched on, it's not this video, right? It's some other video where he touched on the concept of creativity, bro. Right? Professor Jang himself. He was talking about creativity.